There's a tiny little figure in Washington, Liz Truss. If ever there was a competition for the most peculiar assembly of political has-beens and hopefuls, the UK's informal delegation to Donald Trump's inauguration must surely take home the gilded plastic trophy. Liz Truss, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, Suella Braverman, and inexplicably Lawrence Fox have descended upon Washington, each striving to appear relevant, serious, and statesmanlike. A task, I assure you, far easier said than done. We could begin with Liz Truss, the self-proclaimed Thatcher reborn. One can almost picture her on the flight, practicing hand jobs, handshakes in front of the mirror. Let me be perfectly clear. Preparing for the literal and metaphorical gusts of Washington's political wind, the flatulence of flummery, and Truss, according to former aides, is in the US to woo the I want to woo the Trump administration. Woo. I want to woo the Trump administration, hoping to relaunch her career. Woo! Relaunch her career like a plane. As the Iron Lady Mark II, a title she may feel, was cruelly snatched from her by the meddlesome forces of Rachel Reeves. I want to be the Iron Lady. Her MAGA hat debut on the streets of D.C. might have been a nod to her newfound role as Trump's special relationship whisperer, though one cannot overlook the irony. This is the same Liz Truss whose economic policies were so reckless that they made the bond markets behave like an audience watching a particularly dark episode of Fleabag, silent, shocked, and questioning their sanity. Boris Johnson, ever the charismatic rogue, is also present, presumably attempting to network his way into a new chapter in history. For Boris, the Trumpian inauguration is less about politics and more about pageantry, a kind of Etonian mess, a reunion, but with more red caps and fewer cricket bats. More red faces. His mere presence is a reminder that political resurrection is never entirely off the table. Off the table, on the sofa, wah-hey! And especially for those who, like him, have perfected the art of the improbable comeback. I'm coming back again! Braverman's motivations for attending remain unclear, though it's difficult to shake the image of her rehearsing soundbites about freedom and sovereignty, while Fox, in his eternal quest for cultural relevance, waxes lyrical about the supposed virtues of his 0.56% share in the London Assembly election. The people who are absent, perhaps those people we should be asking, where is Matt Hancock? I want to make the stationary cover move! Nigel Farage predictably is present, like a moth to a populist flame. I'm not shallow. And Farage's gravitational pull towards Trump's orbit, a big pull towards your orbit, is unwavering, whether hobnobbing with MAGA diehards or lecturing on the merits of Brexit to an audience of confused Americans. Farage's role as the unofficial mascot of the British far-right populism remains secure. Let's pause for a moment to consider what this delegation says about Britain's political statecraft. No sitting UK Prime Minister has ever attended a US inauguration. So this, of course, didn't deter our ex-leaders and our wannabe influencers from arriving. They arrived en masse, like a pudding, uninvited yet undeterred, their combined presence a bizarre pageant of ambition, irrelevance, and misplaced nostalgia. I'm not a Prime Minister anymore! Even Trump's invitation list seems to have been more like an accident of diplomacy than a deliberate act of statecraft. When Zelensky and Narendra Modi decline and Xi Jinping doesn't even bother to reply, you'd think someone might reconsider their decision to invite Lawrence Fox. Yet here we are. And I like Lawrence, by the way. Yet here we are, with a crowd so eclectic it feels like a live-action parody of a British political scene or a British a British rom-com with a slight political twist. Where was Hugh Grant when you need him? Back home, Rachel Reeves' quiet aspirations to be the new Iron Lady They pale in comparison to this parade of pathos. No amount of fiscal prudence or Margaret Thatcher cosplay could outshine Liz Truss, wielding Trump's art of the deal as her political Bible. Let me be clear. I managed to be Prime Minister for a few days. As the ceremony unfolds, one wonders whether this oddball ensemble will face the high winds of Washington, literal and figurative. Liz Truss, will her hat be blown away, will continue her quixotic battle for Trussism without Truss. And Boris Johnson will charm the room while scribbling notes for his next memoir. And Lawrence Fox? Well, perhaps he'll explain to his American audience that he once played a detective on ITV. In the end, the delegation serves as a reminder that British politics is often as much about theatrics as it is about governance. So watching this surreal scene unfold, one might console oneself with the unshakable truth that at least Keir Starmer had the good sense to stay at home.